Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Stéphane on the French Cooking Academy. Now this week we're going back to a simple one-pot family recipe. We're going to make a recipe that many of you have been asking for some time, which is the poulet à l'estragon, which is translated into the chicken in a tarragon sauce. Now tarragon, if you don't know what that is this herb. It's a fresh herb and it's very fragrant. And for the cooking of the chicken, it's going to be very standard, one pot. We're going to be using a Le Creuset cast iron cookware here. We're going to sear the chicken and cook the chicken in a mix of brown stock, white wine, cognac, and then finish up with some cream. But that's not the important. What we're going to be focusing on is this, the tarragon. If you say to someone, I'm making a tarragon chicken, well, they're going to be expecting to have a nice flavor of tarragon. So I'm going to try to give you all the tips and tricks you can use to maximize and extract as much flavor as we can from that little bunch of herbs here. Let's go. And now let's jump straight in. Let's start with the mise en place. If you're a newcomer, by the way, to the channel, the mise en place is the action of preparing all the ingredients you need before you start a recipe. All right, so I've cut all my vegetables and I've measured my liquid. For this particular recipe, we're going to keep the garnish, and I've cut my carrots, celery and shallots in a small mirepoix, which is the small cubes. The chicken, I've used the whole chicken, cut it into pieces, and I've seasoned the chicken bits with salt and pepper and dusted with flour. Why are we doing this? And because the flour is going to help to thicken the sauce slightly, and that's why you do this. And the fact of putting it at the beginning, and we're going to be able to toast the flour when we try to brown the chicken. For the liquids, dry white wine, cognac, homemade stock. I've used the bone from the chicken to make a short stock. That's something we've seen in our online course. I'm not going to go over that. And some cream. But that's not the important, like I said. What's important is this, okay? The tarragon. And I'm going to show you a few things we can do with the tarragon to really try to have that maximum tarragon effect in that dish, because this is the star of the show. Don't forget that. Now let's talk about how dear tarragon, in French it is called estragon, as you can see on the screen. Now, as you can see, like when you just buy it from the shop, sometimes it does look a bit rough. Kind of looks like a weed. You say, am I gonna eat this really? So once you've got this, what we're gonna do here, there's two parts in the tarragon, like it's a plant like parsley. You got the stem and you've got the leaves. And the action of removing the leaves, we've seen this before in our course, is called effeuiller, which means to pluck basically the leaves out. So of course you're not going to eat like these branches, you don't want that in your plate, you can go fast like this. And we're going to try to collect on one hand, on one side the leaves, and on the other side we're going to collect the stems here. And the stems is something we're going to be using, and we're going to make a whole bunch of stems tied up together as an infuser. Hold on, so now it looks much better. On one hand I've got my leaves that I've washed again, I've selected the leaves, and we're going to use this at the end and for the cream and to infuse the cream, and that is basically the stoke. So instead of throwing things away, I'm tying this up with a little string, and we're going to put this in the chicken when it's going to cook. And now for the chicken. So how do I know if it's good? 2 tablespoons of oil. If it makes a noise, it's fine. So skin side down first, and we're going to color the chicken on a medium heat. Now quick reminder with the chicken, refrain from turning it around as soon as it's in the pan. Leave it in the pan and wait for it to brown, and that can take a good 5 minutes per side to get a good color. Alright, so I'm 4 minutes in, and let's turn this. You can see the color, and that's on the medium heat. We don't want to charcoal the chicken, and this is why medium heat is always good. So I'm just going to turn them around. If one is not ready yet, I'm going to go to another one and turn them over. Hold on, so that's been another 3 minutes. I'm just going to take my piece of chicken out and reserve them on the tray on the side. Okay, look at this. I've got some nice coloring. I'm going to add some shallots, carrots, and a little bit of celery. I'm going to mix that with the caramelized juices and add a little piece of butter. Nudge of butter in there. You can use a tablespoon of oil if there's not enough. I prefer butter because butter tends to bring some nice flavor, especially with those vegetables. So this is more on a medium to low heat. Don't burn anything. We don't want to burn. We want to let the vegetable sweat a little bit. That's what it's called. Okay, so 2 minutes after, you got some nice color. The vegetables have released their flavor. We're gonna start with the cognac. And we're not doing a flambé. Now we're just deglazing. And then I'm going to leave this to reduce. Alright, so when it's almost dry like this, kind of a syrupy consistency, we're going to add a small glass of wine. And same here, we're going to reduce the whole lot. So why are we doing this? We're concentrating the flavor. Now in the case of the wine here, what we're going to want to do is to get rid of the alcohol that's in there and the acidity. So when you reduce, and you're going to remove all that and keep just the good stuff. After a good 3 minutes, the wine should be ready, but how do you know? Well, basically you take a spoon and you taste. What? Wow, that mix of cognac and white wine, really good. What was that meant to say? Yes, you taste if it's still acidic. Basically it's not reduced enough. So that's here, that's fine. So I'm going to reduce my heat. And what we're going to do, we're just going to gently take our piece of chicken and we're going to put the chicken back in the pan like this. Okay, so let's have a quick look at what we've done so far. So we've browned the chicken, we've added the aromatic, we did the deglazing, we add a layer of taste and flavors. And the only taste we got so far, the meaty taste, is the caramelized juices from the chicken. But this is in no way enough to give your preparation a really good flavor. And this is why you add stock on this. So we don't need to go over the top. I've got basically the same thing about a glass. And I'm gonna kind of cover it, I'm gonna keep it tight. Don't even cover it like halfway. Kind of halfway, and kind of a braising technique. And that's it. Then I'm gonna add, of course, my tarragon and try to plunge it in under the sauce there so it can really infuse and bring some taste. Next, for the seasoning, do you add salt in this? Not at all. We're gonna wait towards the end and to add anything. If you want to add something, we can add a little bit of black pepper, and that is gonna be it. We're gonna be cooking this covered. Now let's quickly talk about cooking times. Remember, we've got two things in here. Chicken breast and the white part. That usually takes 15 minutes to be done. And then we've got the chicken thighs and the legs. They take about kind of 25 minutes. So give or take, because we've browned, we're gonna have to leave this to cook for a good, to make sure a good 20 minutes or 25, but in about 10 minutes or 15 minutes maximum, we're gonna have to take all of the breast outside of the pan, otherwise it's gonna be overcooked. Okay, so I'm gonna put a lid on this and leave this to simmer gently for a good 25 minutes. Now the chicken is bubbling away in the back of my stove, and we've added the stokes of the tarragon in the chicken, so it's gonna infuse in the sauce. And I say sauce because if you think that the chicken is gonna ever taste like tarragon, like the flesh of the chicken, no, that is not gonna happen. Even with a marinade, it's extremely hard to have any flavor going deep inside the flesh of a chicken. So the sauce is what we're gonna be concentrating on. So we got some stokes in the sauce of the chicken, and here we're gonna use the cream as a medium to bring some flavor. So we're gonna reduce the cream here, like this, we don't have to do it later. And in my cream, what I'm gonna add, of course, is these tarragon leaves. And what we're gonna be creating here is a very flavorsome tarragon infused cream that we're gonna use at the end on top of a big handful of fresh chopped leaf on the chicken. And that's gonna bring you that kind of super boost of tarragon at the end, all right? So everything in, low heat. I'm gonna reduce this a little bit. My time is up. I've opened the lid and I've removed the chicken breast before, as we said, and I'm gonna now reserve all of the chicken bits on a tray, cover with foil, and we're gonna start working on the sauce. Now the sauce is gonna be made by reduction, so I'm gonna get rid of that. Little nice tarragon. It's done its job. I'm gonna bring this on a high heat and start reducing. My stock has reduced, and now it's time to add some of the cream in. So I've reduced the cream and I'm going to filter it. I don't want to put the tarragon in there. And then again, I'm going to reduce it again further to make sure it's got the right consistency. And now for the final bit. So my sauce is ready. I'm going to add my tarragon and I've thinly chopped because my leaves there were quite rough. And I'm going to keep a little bit for the decoration. I'm going to mix this, and then we're going to put the chicken back in. You see that color? You see that mix of color now? Low heat, and we're just going to put all the chicken back in just to warm it up, and then it's ready to serve. And here we are. So I've added the chicken bits back in, and we're just going to warm them up. And this is the sauce that's bubbling away here. That's very nice, but we're going to reduce it a little bit. So I'm going to leave this for 5 minutes, cover it with sauce and turn it around so it gets some nice flavor, and we're going to be able to serve. So let me just try that for the seasoning. That's good. Chicken and cream always goes very, very well together. I love that little intonation of tarragon. I thought it was going to be stronger, but even with this leaf, I think after 5 minutes it's going to develop a little bit more. But it's got that nice kind of subtle intonation in the cream. It's not overpowering at all. And now let's serve while it's hot. So I'll start by putting some piece of chicken on a dish, and then we'll just pour the sauce over. Looks actually quite good. I like these little carrots there. So let me clean the plate a bit, and we do the sauce. And here we are. So I've cleaned my plate. So let me tell you, we have not reinvented the wheel over here. And because it's a dish from home, we're keeping the garnish. So I'm just gonna try to add a little bit of sauce, and well, always a bit generous, and to have sauce in the plate. But that's it. So what we can see here, what I like, is that the fragments of colors from the leaves, they're very appetizing, and the garnish that we've kept, and you can see these little squares, they act also as a beautiful decoration. So we don't need to add much, maybe a sprinkle of tarragon on top, and I don't think it's even super necessary because there's already plenty on top, but that's about it. That's the way I would serve this dish. So I'm going to do a separate last tasting before we go. And to finish off the video, the tasting. So this is my poulet l'estragon, aka the tarragon chicken. I will add a little bit more sauce because I love sauce, and we need to see how it tastes like. And basically that's it. And I think that's a piece of the breast that I've got here. So let's see the white. Nice and moist still, maybe slightly overcooked, but I think I don't care, because that looks so good. I love creamy dish. Let me try that. Oh, it's tender. Oh look at that. It's nice, and of course the flesh, there's a little bit of tarragon taste in there, but it's very subtle. It's a very, very subtle experience. And this little garnish on there, you know, it really adds something. But I love the addition of tarragon, which is very, very discreet. Whoa, we should do this dish more often. Wow, what a recipe. Really impressed with that one. And that completes the recipe for today. And the tarragon chicken. And again, one of these family French recipes, they always surprise me. Because sometimes you start, you think, oh, it's not going to be really, you know, super special, because we have not reinvented the wheel here. And we use simple techniques, but that addition of tarragon with the tarragon infused cream, ooh, that is something that goes very, very well. But that's it for me, guys. I'll leave you with this picture on the screen here. And as always, if you have any questions in the comment section, you can share your recipe on Instagram, #FrenchCookAcademy. And do not forget, we've got our online training program for beginners home cook that is live. And a new course is coming soon on baking essentials. Some little announcement there, but more on that later. So take care all, and I'll see you next week. Bye bye.